welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Joining us, as always, is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the internet, coming to you live from right here at the Stream.TV studios here in Hollywood, California, and we are so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
Also here, Mark Ellis.
Hey everybody, I am so excited to be here. I feel like Goose when he got called up to Top Gun. Hopefully I'll stick around longer.
And also here, contributing editor for Fandango and Movies.com, Eric Davis.
What's up? I'm bringing out the wick today to remind you that this is an awesome movie that you should still see, but also walk your dogs today because they need exercise too.
You know, before we get to the first topic, I had a couple of things I want to mention. First of all, for those of you who are watching AMC Movie Talk today, I hope you understand how lucky we all are that we got Eric Davis here. Eric is, like, seriously, I put out a tweet today, like one of the Hall of Famers in this whole, and you know what? Damn it, someday I want to see a documentary on Cinematical. I really do.
Have you ever been to the Hall of Fame for movie bloggers? It's like in a back alleyway in Rhode Island. And it's really, there's a big poster of me on the third floor. It's next to some Star Wars memorabilia. It's me going like, really fascinating stuff. Look it up, an alleyway in Rhode Island.
On Thursdays, he's signing autographs for $30 a piece. It's fantastic. I also got a bit of an announcement I want to make today to our own viewers, because I actually made this announcement on Schmoes a few days ago. But for those of you who are sons of AMC, Mark Ellis is now officially one of our team members. He's on staff with us at AMC. You're going to see him around a lot, starting in November.
Yeah.
So today you're just a throwaway guest.
Today this is just practice. This is like, hey Ellis, come talk movies, clean the toilets, get us some water. So I'm just a utility player. I'm just happy to be on the squad.
And we're really excited to have you on, and we can't wait for November to come around. He's going to be on here like a whole bunch every month. And also, before we get into the first topic, this kind of came up. A very cryptic, pseudo-mysterious email went out from Marvel and Disney the other day to a bunch of guys. It says, hey, we at Marvel and Disney, we have a special presentation we'd like to make for you on Tuesday at 11 a.m. at the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood. Come on down. It is very rare for them to put something out like that and not tell us what it is. And so we were just talking beforehand about what on earth is Marvel and Disney going to announce. Now, I emailed the rep at Disney and I said, look, I have to skip out on AMC Movie Talk to go and do this. Is this worth it? And they said, well, you know, you don't know, but if Marvel's doing it, it's probably something pretty spectacular, so it better be damn good. But anyway, you guys, we were just talking about this. Do you have any theories about what it is that Marvel is going to be presenting or announcing or dropping? Like, what do you think they're going to be doing, Eric?
I think it'll be Avengers related, because this is sort of to piggyback on the trailer leaking last week. And I think they said, oh, the trailer leaked. We still want to do something big. We're going to have this big thing. So I can see more Avengers Age of Ultron footage screening. And then it would be cool if Marvel tacked on an announcement to that. So announcements we're still waiting for. Who is Doctor Strange? Maybe there's going to be some Ant-Man footage that they can preview too. So I think it's going to be in that realm. I wouldn't go farther out than Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, maybe a Black Panther. There's a bunch of rumors for that. I wouldn't go beyond that. I think that's where it's going to be sort of focused.
Mark, you got any theories?
I am hoping to meet Robert Downey Jr. tomorrow. No, what I actually think is it can't not be Avengers, simply because of what happened last week with the trailer getting leaked. And I think that everybody involved with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was a little upset at that, because that was such a big thing for the show. That, we have this trailer, it's going to be on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then it wasn't. And so now they have new footage that's going to be at Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. tomorrow night. So I think that they want to do something during the day that's going to start building buzz that, oh no, you still need to watch tonight's episode. Personally, I'd love to see Ant-Man or some sort of announcement, too. I'd like to see a cast member on stage that maybe we didn't know was going to be there before, like who is actually playing Doctor Strange. That'd be awesome. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I think it can't just be footage. Like, you don't invite press to come to something, make it mysterious, don't tell anybody what it is, ask them to come right in the middle of the day, and then just show us some footage that we can watch online 5 minutes later. I think, Eric, you're right. I think it's going to be something to do with showing us some footage, maybe Ant-Man related, whatever. And I think there's going to be a cast announcement. I think they're going to announce Doctor Strange tomorrow. And they're going to stay. Kevin Feige's going to come on stage after showing us some Ant-Man footage or some new Age of Ultron footage and go, and we also would like to announce, Benedict Cumberbatch As Doctor Strange, he comes out in the big cape and everything like that, and going, twirling his mustache. I think that would be. There has to be a significant announcement attached to this. So. We'll find out tomorrow, and I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot on AMC Movie Talk on Wednesday. Anyway, with all that out of the way, let's get to the first official topic today.
Okay, the box office results are in, and appropriately enough for this Halloween season, the horror film Ouija took the #1 spot, taking in $20 million. And the #2 spot is the Keanu Reeves revenge action film John Wick, bringing in just over $14 million. And third is the Brad Pitt World War II film Fury, making another $13 million. The Ben Affleck Rosamund Pike film Gone Girl stays in the top 5, coming in at #4, making $11 million in its 4th weekend. And rounding out the top 5 is the animated film The Book of Life, making $9.8 million in its 2nd weekend in release. John, does any of this stand out to you about this weekend's box office results?
A couple things stand out to me. Number one, Ouija did better than I expected, to be honest. Somebody asked me from Hasbro, do you think it can make $25 million? And I'm guffaw, no, it'll make closer to $17 million. I guess technically it did make closer to $17 million. But $20 million, I think, is a pretty good result for a film like this, because the first couple trailers, not good. I was not a big fan of the film myself, but surprisingly enough, I know a few people who came out of it that went, you know what, it wasn't as bad as we thought. And maybe that was because of really low expectations, but I actually know a couple of people who thought it was an okay film to see, so that was nice. If you'd asked a lot of people about 3 weeks ago, how good is John Wick going to do, it wasn't 14 million good. It was going to be under that. Yeah. I think they projected to come in 4th or 5th in the box office this weekend, and this was a very strong weekend. I think they said this is the biggest this weekend in history, I think is what it turned out to be. And this October is already the biggest box office October in history, and there's still a few days to go. So Wick did well, which I'm so thrilled. I can't talk enough about John Wick. I don't know if we can't zoom in right now. I got goosebumps forming on my arm. I get so excited when I just think about this damn movie. It is so much fun. Directed by these two dudes who have never directed a thing before. I don't know if they directed Traffic, but they're two stunt coordinators who got together and said, yeah, let's direct a movie. And they directed it. Love it. I was so excited, and I think you're going to see, as word spreads about it, I think you're going to see a minuscule. I think you're going to see a 30% or less drop in this film next weekend. So those things stand to me. Eric, what about you? What stands out to you about the top 5 this week?
I agree with John. Everything you said about John Wick. I thought it should have made $100 million this weekend.
I agree.
In T-shirt sales alone, $100 million.
Yeah, come on. But it's a really fun movie. It's been a good October. It's been a strong October. I think the kind of content that you want to see in October on the big screen is on the big screen. It's stuff that's dangerous, it's creepy, it's violent, it's a little scary, it's a little bit of all of that. That's what we want to feel right now with Halloween coming up. So, yeah, I mean, the movies that are coming out are good movies. They're doing well. So, there's not much to be surprised with, because people are like, yeah, I like what I'm watching, so I'm going to continue watching it. But I do implore you to see John Wick more.
Yes, go see John Wick.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, and as a fellow fan of John Wick, I mean, I was so happy to see how that movie did well, because like you alluded to, John, a month ago, nobody knew this movie was coming out. And then all of a sudden, because it's doing so well critically, when it's so rated, it's rated that highly on Rotten Tomatoes, people are going to want to go see John Wick, and they're interested. And knowing that propelled it to the #2 spot, it's not going to be Ouija, because like you said, John Wick gives you goosebumps. You know what gives me goosebumps? A Ouija board. And that's what happens to a lot of people. This was a total product placement movie that was the perfect timing and hit it out of the park. And I got Annabelled by that movie a little bit, because I also went in with very low expectations and actually enjoyed liking the film. There's going to be a conduit to another world. We've seen that movie before, but never with the actual Ouija board. So it was exciting to see. And I think people this time of year, they're not necessarily going to see an Oscar film. They want to see something that's scary. It's Halloween. Ouija did well. It didn't shock me.
And it's also, I should point out too, it is really nice to see a film the quality of Gone Girl, still in its 4th week, still in the top 5. Fury, I liked very much, not quite as much as Gone Girl. It's nice to see that up there too, and enjoying the success it has. So yeah, it's a nice listing this week. All right, what's next?
One of the most exciting dates on this year's movie calendar is November 7th, with 2 highly anticipated films opening: Christopher Nolan's Interstellar and Disney's Big Hero 6. Media and critics have now had a chance to see both films, with Big Hero 6 currently holding an early 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and Interstellar getting rave reviews from the critics on Twitter. John, which of these 2 films are you looking forward to the most, and can you remember another date with 2 films this much of a highly anticipated opening on the same day?
all I can say is what I have been looking forward to. But let's get to the first question. Which of these two films, Big Hero 6 and Interstellar, am I looking forward to more? I have been looking forward to both of them a lot. I believe in Disney. When they give us these types of films, Wreck-It Ralph crushed it for me. And so I've been looking forward to that. Interstellar, it's a Christopher Nolan film. What can you say? It's a Christopher Nolan film. Of course I'm looking forward to it. Right now, by default, I am more looking forward to Interstellar because I have seen Big Hero 6. And some of the other staff people on my staff have taken the screenings of Interstellar away from me and went to it themselves. So I'm looking forward to Interstellar so very much. So that is the only weekends I've looked forward to as much as this one. Not quite as much, but Christmas of 2009, we had these two films coming out that I was just dying for. One was the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes. Because it was also directed by one of my favorite directors. But then you had Avatar coming out on the same weekend as well. So that was a really big weekend for me. Another weekend was the May 24th weekend of 2013, Fast and the Furious 6. And The Hangover 3. Turns out that was a slaughter, but I was so looking forward to Hangover 3, and it turned out okay. And Fast 6 was amazing, but those are the dates that stand out to me. What about you, Mark?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's nice to be working with such a kind gentleman who will let other people go see Interstellar while you see Big Hero 6. Yeah, I'm looking forward to both those movies, but Interstellar is definitely taking the cake. All-time box office, I got a couple, and they both are in 1994. If you can believe it, it was before I had my first kiss. You had Hard Target and The Fugitive open the same weekend. My entire family wanted to go see The Fugitive because it was a good movie, and my mom was so cool, she said, I'll go take you to see Hard Target while everybody else in the theater sees The Fugitive. So you can live out your Van Damme fantasies, and I'll just take the hit. The other weekend was The Shawshank Redemption came out, and it was out for 3 weeks.
What opened against it?
And then Pulp Fiction came out, but Pulp Fiction also went up against Little Giants, which is a sneaky good sports movie, and so that's what I'm also going with, also in 1994.
But to be clear,
Shawshank
Pulp
came out
Fiction
3
and
weeks.
Shawshank didn't open on the same day.
Not on the same day, no.
What about you, Eric?
Weekends like that, didn't Gremlins and Ghostbusters open up on the same weekend?
Oh, if
Way
that's
back
I believe
when.
they did.
I believe that was
Yeah.
like a monster weekend.
Yeah.
Wow.
To find those kinds of weekends, I think back in the mid-'80s, you had those kinds of weekends where these two big films that are now classics, back then nobody really knew what to do with them, and so they dropped. So you get a lot of these summers where you had big classic comedies coming out, with other classic movies. Now they're a little bit smarter about it. We don't see weekends like this much unless the two movies are just for completely different audiences, which they are.
Counter-programming like this
Yes,
weekend.
yeah.
Right.
And so yeah.
I just noticed the graphic too.
That is
That
awesome.
would have been an awesome scene in the movie.
That's a great
Like if they landed on this water planet and Baymax was like, "What's up?" That would have been, people would have been freaking out. Now you have to see both movies for the connectivity there. But yeah, it's
Humans were meant to be inflated. That's how we're going to survive.
I've seen Interstellar. I haven't seen Big Hero 6. So like you, I'm probably looking more forward to Big Hero 6 just because I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, Interstellar is a trip, and it's awesome, and I think everybody should see it.
I guess having seen Big Hero 6, and then I can toss it over to you because you've seen the other one. I love Big Hero 6. It was better than I thought it would be. It captures that awe and wonder. And I should mention, I think it's November 5th. I'll give you the better date later. But two of the voice stars of the film are going to be coming in here into AMC Movie Talk Studios to hang out with us for one of our shows. So Genesis Rodriguez is coming in, and Jamie Chung are coming in. So they're both going to be here to talk about the film. But I do got to tell you, I love it, and almost as good as the movie itself is this new Disney short.
Those
just
shorts
playing
are
in
always
front of
so
it,
good.
called Feast. And it's like 3 minutes that you will always remember. It's such a beautifully, I'm a dog person, so I'm a little biased, granted, but you are going to remember those 3 minutes. But we hear this incredible buzz, some negative reviews. But after I wrote the show notes, we realized the reviews started hitting Rotten Tomatoes. The last I checked, it had a 64% rating. I'm assuming it's going to go up from there. But I was a little bit shocked. But you've seen the film.
I have.
Just without, ruining, the review you're going to do for it. Just your quick impression.
Okay, let me spoil everything. No, it's big, it's bold, and beautiful, and there's a lot going on in the film. And I think that's why we're seeing this sort of mixed reviews right now, because there's so many ideas in this film that it's hard to kind of digest in one sitting, I think, in terms of in just how heady it is. But I think visually it's spectacular. You have to see this movie on a big IMAX screen. I think similar to the way I felt watching Gravity last year on the big screen, where I was just like, this is, a movie. To see. I like it in that way. And also, Interstellar is the kind of movie where you're going to go see it, it's going to floor you visually, and then you're going to go with your friends for coffee and you're going to talk about it for hours. And that's what I'm hearing a lot about. Even for people that didn't like it, they spent an hour and a half, 2 hours outside their movie theater with their friends just talking through it. And those are always my favorite movies. Those are the movies that remind you why you love going to the movies. Because it's like, you knocked me out, you floored me watching it, and now we get to talk about it for hours. And even if the movie's not a perfect movie, a movie that you can talk about for hours with your friends is one that's worth seeing, in my opinion.
And you get to talk about it for hours once the actual movie ends. And I heard it's a very long movie.
It is.
Is it one of, because there's two kinds of long movies. There's ones where it's like I need to time my pee break so I don't miss anything. And then there's other ones, like something like Braveheart, you just can't leave the theater. Doesn't matter. You don't even feel the need to go because you're so invested in what's happening on screen. Is Interstellar the former or the latter?
I think it's a fast movie for its 3 hours. And, if anything, if I had to critique it for a movie about space exploration, it doesn't slow down to really kind of take in what's happening and what they're doing. And so I would have liked it to almost slow down a little because it's fast.
You wanted a 4-hour movie, not a 3-hour movie.
You know what? I could have watched a 4-hour version of this movie because you don't feel the time because it's boom, 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 and he goes with it the whole time, and every scene is worth watching. So, yeah, see it.
Right. Well, it's shaping up to be one of those weekends that I think a lot of us are going to be going to the theater, coming out of one movie, and immediately getting back in line to go to see the other. It's like Big Hero 6, Interstellar on the same day. This is going to be a great movie-going day. All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for Buy or Sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Ashley's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. And then those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
With the next Fast and Furious film set to hit AMC theaters on April 3rd, Universal Studios has announced the official title for the film, which will be Furious 7. The studio also released the first official artwork for the film with this image you see here, and announced that the first trailer for the film will drop on Saturday, November 1st. John, buy or sell the title for Furious 7?
Buy it. I think this goes with, look, if they had done Fast and Furious 1, Fast and Furious 2, Fast and Furious 3, and then all of a sudden they dropped Furious 7, I think that's really stupid. But this is kind of consistent with what they've been doing with their titling stuff, so I'm totally fine with the title. And let's face it, the title's totally inconsequential at this point. Doesn't really matter. I do like the first artwork we're seeing. That's pretty cool. I gotta admit, I thought I was pretty much, okay, I've done the fan grieving of Paul Walker. That's done. I'm ready to go now. That's in the back shelf now. I'll just watch the movie. And then this poster came out. I watched it. I got to admit, had a little more fan grieving. Seeing it's like, oh damn, that's right. Like he's not with us anymore. This is so sad. And so that's what the artwork did for me on that level. So yeah, I buy it.
Yeah, I buy it. I like it. I do with a caveat. I want there to be some furiousness, a little extra furious in the movie.
Right.
I want the characters. I want to be like, that guy's furious. I want to see the automobiles and be like, you know what? This is a little bit more furious, these automobiles, than the last one. But yeah, it makes sense. If they're working it in, there's 7 of them there, Furious 7. It kind of sounds like a cool mission movie that I would want to go see. And yeah, I'm definitely buying it.
Yeah, how do you not buy this title? It's Furious 7. Like, even before you knew what the movie was, it said Furious 7 has a release date, has a trailer. You're like, oh, that's the movie with the cars. Like, if it was titled In the Time of Automobiles, I would have been like, that's stretching it a little bit. They going for the Oscar one here? No, Furious 7. And like you said, the artwork, when you see Paul Walker on there, it's just intriguing to see how they're going to play that storyline out and how that's going to interact with the rest of the movie, how much he's actually going to be in the film at all. And so it's a very interesting premise. Then I guess the trailer we're going to get very soon after this. So it's a good time to be furious.
And we haven't talked a lot about it lately, but I think as we get close to the film, it will. I think Jason Statham as the next villain has been a great addition, and we'll see more of that as we get closer. All right, what's next?
With DC and WB recently announcing their ambitious and packed slate of upcoming superhero films, many fans have wondered if either Christopher Nolan or his brother Jonathan Nolan would be returning to their DC hero movie success. And sadly, it looks like they won't. In a recent interview with Coming Soon, Jonathan Nolan stated that they've closed that chapter in their careers. He didn't completely rule out ever being involved with another hero franchise again, but it didn't sound likely. Eric, buy or sell that we won't see the Nolans back in the superhero movie game?
I buy it just because I know the Nolans and Christopher Nolan, he's done 3 Batman movies. Batman has gone off to Ben Affleck. I think when we see the solo Batman movies, they're probably going to be directed by Ben Affleck, or at least the first one is going to be. So he's not going to go back to Batman. Superman is Zack Snyder, and Justice League is all Zack Snyder. He's not going to go there. So I can't see Christopher Nolan be like, I'll take the Shazam movie. You know, I just don't see, I don't see it happening. I think that time has come and gone. If we do, I spoke to Jonathan Nolan actually recently, and for Interstellar, and yeah, they're not interested in going back to that DC world. I think if we see Christopher Nolan do a franchise movie, it may be a James Bond. He's a big fan of that. And I also would not rule out Star Wars. I spoke for a while with Jonathan Nolan about Star Wars, and I know that as kids growing up in that family, the two of them were gigantic Star Wars fans. And I'm going to be writing about that this week, and so I would not rule out a Star Wars movie.
I'm going to buy that we're not going to see them back again. Number one, I've never really felt like Christopher Nolan's style will work if it's a totally Christopher Nolan universe. So he can create it, write it, and in control of it, then his style works great. But the thing about the DC Cinematic Universe is it's going the way of Marvel and stuff like that, where now they're going to have running story arcs. Now when they bring on directors to direct this chapter or this whatever, these directors are being given a certain set of circumstances and criteria. Your story, your movie has to fit within the shell that we've already created. And that doesn't feel to me like something Christopher Nolan would be interested in at all. I think he'd be much more interested in coming in and just creating his own thing, and that doesn't fit with what DC is doing right now. So I can totally see that just not working. Plus, as a Christopher Nolan fan, I'm just totally happy to see him do his other projects that he does start from scratch. So I buy it.
I'm a big fan of both of you guys. I'm selling it. I think that for the time being, I completely agree. I think that they're going to go away from that. They close the chapter, like what Jonathan Nolan said. I've never interacted with the Nolans at all, but I think that eventually, it's not like these guys are running backs and they have a shelf life as far as their career goes. You know, they can go forever. They can go a long time past 2020 or whenever the DC or Marvel slate or any other superhero film slate is scheduled for right now. So I think that they're going to go away. They're going to do some other things. I'd love to see a Bond. I'd love to see Nolan do a Star Wars movie, but I think eventually they just have too much ability in that realm to not do something else in the superhero world at some point in the future. Maybe
a little bit. I'm just speculating. Maybe at some point Warner Brothers goes to the Nolans. Maybe Christopher Nolan comes up with a cool idea that's kind of risky, nobody really wants to do, and Warner Brothers goes in with a "you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours" kind of an arrangement and see what they can get.
You have to think that Legendary is also not with Warner Brothers anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
And Christopher Nolan seems like he's a little bit tighter with Legendary than he was with Warner Brothers. Legendary is with Universal right now, so you could start looking at Universal franchises that maybe Legendary will pull him into, and they can kind of team up on that.
He's going to direct the next Wolfman.
Yeah,
there you go. You heard it here first.
The next Wolfman. There you go.
All right, what's next?
Writers and directors of the highly successful The Lego Movie, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, have just signed a deal to return to write the script for The Lego Movie 2. No word yet on if the duo will also direct the film or not. Mark Byers said that Miller and Lord will direct the Lego Movie sequel.
I'm totally buying this. I'm so excited to hear this news. Even if they don't direct it, just the fact that they're going to have their hands on it, on the script.
That they're going to direct it.
I buy that.
You think they will direct it?
Oh, that was the question?
Yes.
I thought it was. I thought they were just asking me if I was happy.
No,
I was like,
no.
yeah, everything is awesome. No, I think that I don't think they will direct it then. I'm going to sell that. I think Christopher Nolan is going to come in and direct the next Lego movie.
I would see that.
No, I think I'll sell that they're actually going to come in and direct it. I think that just like what I was going to say before is that just the fact that their handprints are going to be on the film, I think is good enough, and they'll probably let somebody else take the directing reins. That's my gut feeling.
Eric?
Yeah, I feel the same exact way. I buy the fact that they're awesome. And I'd rather have them writing it than directing it, to be honest with you, just because I think these are really two smart guys. They know what they're doing, and I want directing one of these Lego movies is time-consuming and ridiculously hard. So I'd want to see them churn out a script and then go direct 2 other movies while someone else is dealing with directing.
It's easier to be the guy that writes the Lego instructions than the person who's actually putting the Legos together.
Exactly.
Yeah, I sell that we're going to see them direct it. I would love to see them direct it, but I think they've got so many things going now. Their credibility is just skyrocketed right now. Everything they touch works. So I love the fact that they're going to write it, so we're going to feel a sense of consistency with the films. I also like that McKay is directing the Lego Batman movie. I think that's a nice continuity thing there as well, considering that he worked so closely with them on the first one. So yeah, I don't think they're going to direct it, and I'm actually okay with that as long as they're writing it. All right, folks, we come to that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk @gmail.com. Now, every day we take a couple questions on the mailbag, but we're going to let you know if you watch us live, we are going to take just a minute or two at the end of the show to take some of your live questions, and you can get your live question on by tweeting to us right now at AMC Movie News. But for now, let's get to the mailbag. So, Ashley, what do we got?
Joe Vandermalen writes, greetings and salutations, AMC. I was wondering, you guys often talk about your most anticipated movies for the rest of the year, but there is no mention of American Sniper. Are you just not looking forward to it that much, or do you need to see more? It is personally my most anticipated for the rest of the year, just over Interstellar. Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
Well, there's a couple things to keep in mind about American Sniper for me. Number one, we've only had the one small teaser that's come out about it. It's based on a fascinating true story, so that's got that going for it. The first quasi-teaser trailer was intense, but there's nothing there for me. There's enough there for me to go, I'm looking forward to seeing this movie. Not enough there for me yet to go, one of my top 2 or 3 anticipated films for the remainder of the year yet. Plus, man, and this feels like a Ridley Scott thing, I never thought there would come a day where I'd go, Clint Eastwood directed it, and therefore it makes me nervous about the film. Like, who 5, 6, 7 years ago, who would have thought you'd ever say that? But Clint Eastwood is not on a hot streak. The last number of films that he's put out have, quite frankly, disappointed quite a lot. So that, combined with the fact that we really haven't seen much from it yet, we know it's based on a cool story. I'm looking forward to it, but that's why it's not in my most anticipated list yet. Who knows? We may go see it, it may be best film of the year, but my anticipation level just isn't there yet. Mark, what about you?
It wasn't as much on my radar as some of the other movies that are coming out around the holidays, and then I saw the trailer, and the trailer made me emotional. This trailer was fantastic.
It's intense.
It sucked me so far in that it became one of my most anticipated of the year, so I'd say, yeah, it is. And to your Clint Eastwood point, I think the guy, he has been on a hot streak. I think he's got one more fastball in him, though, and I think this one's it. The way that this trailer was crafted, it feels like you can feel his fingerprints, so when you actually see the name Clint Eastwood, you're like, you know what, yeah, I think this guy is the perfect dude to make this film. I don't know that it's a great Christmas movie to see with your family, but it's definitely one of my most anticipated of the year.
Eric?
Yeah, the trailer really surprised me. This is a film that we weren't going to get, so it kind of snuck up on us.
Yeah.
They moved it into December. We thought we were going to get it, I think, next year. And the trailer looked awesome. It kind of reminded me of The Hurt Locker, the intensity of some of the scenes in that movie where you're just kind of on the edge of your seat. And I love those kinds of movies, those sniper movies. And Bradley Cooper, I really enjoy. I like him as an actor. And yeah, I trust Clint Eastwood. I don't mind. I'm not kind of selling, you know, some people are selling him off. I'm like, he's still Clint Eastwood. You know?
Yeah, and I mean, for people like me who will jump up and say, hey, the last one, Jersey Boys, J. Edgar, Hereafter. Okay, true, yeah. But people like me also got to keep in mind that before all that, Gran Torino, Letters from Iwo Jima, $1 Million Baby, Mystic River. I mean, I loved Space Cowboys. I don't care what anybody else says. I loved Space Cowboys. Yeah. So it just makes me a little apprehensive just the last 3 films he's put out. So we'll see what happens. All right, what's next?
Cam Diebel writes, hi AMC, love the show and watch every day from Australia. With Oscar buzz heating up, what are your thoughts on Ralph Fiennes getting nominated for the Grand Budapest Hotel? I thought he was fantastic. Does the film have a chance at any awards? I think it could be Wes Anderson's best film to date. Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
There are a few rules in life, and absolutes. Death, taxes, video game movie sucks, and if Ralph Fiennes is in a film, he's going to give you a world-class performance. I mean, that's just a given. I can't think of a film that he was in where not necessarily the movie was any good, but that I didn't go, man, he brought it. He always brings it. There's a problem, though. This year, a few months ago, I said this year's Best Actor category at the Oscars is going to be good, but not as stacked as last year. Last year was kind of ridiculous how stacked it was. But that's starting to change. Now, I mean, there are certain locks. It looks like Steve Carell is going to be a lock for one of those spots. It looks like Benedict Cumberbatch is going to be a lock for one of those spots. Mm-hmm. It looks like Michael Keaton is going to be a lock for one of those spots. The kid from Theory of Everything.
Eddie Redmayne.
Eddie Redmayne is going to be a lock for one of those spots. A lot of people are saying Jake Gyllenhaal for Nightcrawler, maybe one of those spots. And there's a few other names popping up that I think, you know, this isn't like the Best Picture category where you can have anywhere from 5 to 10 nominees. It's 5 nominees. And there just doesn't seem to be, it's like Tom Hanks' performance last year. Tom Hanks was great last year, but there wasn't enough room in the inn for him to squeeze in there. And I think that's what's going to happen with Ralph Fiennes this year. And do you guys see it any differently?
Yeah, no, this year is stacked. You know, I agree with Cam. I think his name was Cam. I think he's brilliant in the film. And when I did a piece on the best performances of this year, he was the first one that I put up there because I love him in that movie. But yeah, it's stacked, but it's stacked in a fun way because this is a year where we could get all Oscar nominees that have never really been nominated for Oscars. Some of these kids, if you can get Jack O'Connell from Unbroken, he's getting a lot of buzz too. That movie hasn't hit yet. So we could have this sort of lineup of these, you know, Eddie Redmayne, Steve Carell, Michael Keaton, this little mix of old and new, and it's really nice. You know, do I hope Fiennes gets his way in there? I think he deserves to be. It's a fantastic performance, but I just don't see it.
I think Steve Carell, Michael Keaton being considered hurts Ralph Fiennes' chances because of the tone of this movie and when it was released. Is that it didn't come out in the classic Oscar season, and also if there's going to be a tiebreaker when it comes to Oscar films, they tend to go more towards a serious tone movie. So especially if you have comedians like Steve Carell or somebody who's been very funny in a movie like Michael Keaton has been in the past, they're already nominated. I think that's going to hurt Ralph Fiennes' chances because he was in a film that has a lighter tone than some of these other movies we're talking about.
All right, that was the last mailbag question, right?
Right.
It was. All right, well, I said we would take a couple of minutes. We're almost out of time. But guys, fire in a couple questions here. If you haven't done so already, it's not going to get on. Let's be honest here. Ashley's picked out a couple. Ashley, let's rapid fire through a couple here really quick.
All right, Adil Zubair writes, how to fix the Amazing Spider-Man franchise.
Sorry, repeat the question?
How to fix the Amazing Spider-Man franchise.
Well, they've had... This new franchise has had one poor film. I still contend the first, The Amazing Spider-Man, I thought was great. I had a really fun time. I went to see it in theaters 4 or 5 times. I thought it was wonderful. The second one was a big drop-off. It still made over $700 million worldwide. So fixing it is not that... Now, there have been a lot of question marks about what's the future of it, what's Sony going to do. Sony's a company's having some rough water times, all that kind of stuff. All that aside, one underperforming movie does not a disaster make yet. So you just hold on to your horses. You guys any other thoughts?
Yeah, I think Andrew Garfield, he stays as Spider-Man. I think he's fantastic in that role. You could, you could make a game changer and put Spider-Man in the Avengers 3 and then spin off the Amazing Spider-Man 3 off of that, sort of give him some more of that street cred back, that Marvel Studios street cred, which I think that's what maybe he's missing right now. But yeah, I agree with you. Amazing Spider-Man I really liked. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, not as much, but it wasn't a complete disaster in my mind. I think they did a lot of really nice things with that film. And so I don't think it needs a ton of fixing.
I love The Amazing Spider-Man, and I like the second one. I think that what you do, if the studios can play nice with each other, then you can have Spider-Man appear in another comic book film down the road, that's great. For the next film in this franchise, I say go smaller. Just go smaller, get a little quieter. You don't need all these villains. You don't need to have 7 villains make an appearance in one movie. Just let's have him battle somebody. I don't care who it is. Just have him battle somebody. Make it a little more about him as opposed to all this crazy. And make sure that the innocent bystanders in New York are aware that there's danger happening 10 feet away from them. And they're not just like watching this fight like they got, box tickets at a prize fight. Run in the other direction.
All right, what's next?
Roshan writes, I'm 17, so I haven't seen any Star Wars movies, but I'm very excited about Episode 7. Should I watch the previous ones to understand Episode 7?
Yes, you should absolutely watch all of the only 3 existing Star Wars movies. Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. The other 3 don't exist. They're like a little practical joke. Any day now, George Lucas is going to put out a press release going, gotcha! You thought I was being serious with those prequel movies. I got you all. So yeah, go back and watch them. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, dude, I'm envious that you're 17 and you haven't watched any of these Star Wars movies. My recommendation is, yes, watch all of them. Watch 1 and 2, well, the first 2 Star Wars movies, actually 4 and 5, episodes 4 and 5 is what I would do. Then I would watch episodes 1, 2, 3, and then I would watch Return of the Jedi and kind of come right into episode 7. That's my
I don't know what you're talking about with episodes 1, 2, 3.
This is a very existential question to ask because do you start with the original trilogy? You got to watch all 6 movies. Sorry, John. There's 6 movies. You got to see all of them. I also recommend the 2 Ewoks movies that aired on TV in the 80s. I would say start with the original trilogy, then go to the prequels. You're going to be fine. There's at least one redeeming quality in each one of those films, and then get ready for the redemption of Star Wars with Episode 7.
All right, folks, that will do it for us for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us today. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing in AMC theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com. for your theater, showtime, and of course, your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find a link to our podcast feed. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up on the YouTube video and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share this video around on your Facebook page, Twitter, whatever, and spread the word about it. I want to thank, first of all, the guys sitting at the table with me, sitting way over there, new staff member here at AMC Movie Talk, Mr. Mark Ellis. Mark, where can people find you online?
Well, here at AMC, you can find me down in the basement. That's where my office is currently, and you can find me at 5150 Ellis on Twitter and Instagram.
And of course, our very special guest today, Mr. Eric Davis. Eric, where can people find you online?
You can find me Fandango, movies.com, and on Twitter at ERIK Davis.
And his Thursday appearances at the Online Film Blogger Hall of Fame. And of course, our lovely host today, Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you?
Twitter, Instagram at Ashley Mova. Happy Monday, guys.
And you can find me on the various social media networks, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, at John Campia. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name is John Campia for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you like this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.